Thank you so much, Michelle. You may regret that you asked me to testify. I know. I'm just kidding, trying to make light. I want to echo the comments of one of the previous speaker. I am a parent of a daughter who has major depression disorder and anxiety, and a son who has ADHD and anxiety. My mother was never really truly diagnosed, but had lots of mental health issues growing up, as did my sister. Others would argue I might have too, but so far I've really kind of been the caretaker, which is great. I've accepted that role willingly. I serve as a board member for a community mental health center. I want to be sure that my comments are being recorded as mine and not reflective of our center, because that would not be fair. First of all, I want to thank everybody in this room for everything that you do to help families and people who struggle with brain disease to become healthy and to live productive lives and to feel valued. I'm a marketer by trade, so to me, language has always been important. I struggle with the fact that we call ourselves behavioral health, because behavior indicates a choice. Behavior indicates that I have a choice about how I'm going to behave or what I'm going to do. And if you have depression or anxiety or substance use disorder or schizophrenia or many of the other brain illnesses that are out there, you don't have a choice. They're no longer a choice. Just as your diabetes isn't a choice, but there are certain behaviors or certain actions that we take that might make those diseases more manageable or not. And it's no different with what we're talking about today. And some of you in the earlier session heard me say we have not done ourselves any favors by differentiating behavioral health from health. Because as somebody so eloquently said, the brain is one of the major organs in our body. So why can't we treat it like any other organ or disease? So I have several different topics I want to talk about that, and I'm a person that if I present a problem, I usually like to provide a solution if I can think of one. I think we have to stop this all or nothing approach to privacy. I'm a family member who cares deeply about my child, and if I'm a source of that problem, then someone needs to work with me to help me be a solution instead of a source of that problem. And if my child is in danger, she's now 31, but if she still struggles, and she sees a therapist, thank goodness, regularly, and she finally is on medication regularly, but if she's struggling at a particular time, as I know she has been, and she's thinking about suicide, I'd like to know that as a parent. I'd like to know so that I can provide a safety net or help her. But if she chooses not to disclose to me, which I've been very fortunate at this point, she always has, I sure would like to know there was a safety net to let me know besides a police officer showing up at my door. So let's figure out how we ask a patient when they come into treatment, if there is someone that whether it's me or whomever, but who would they like me to contact if I am concerned about their well-being, who's not in the law enforcement industry or who's not a medical person that they don't know, but somebody they trust who can be with them in whatever environment is best chosen by the medical professional or the professional for them to be treated and kept safe. So we've got to stop this. We've done an overreach on privacy, in my opinion, or there are ways we could address it differently. Someone else said follow the money. That was also on my list of things. I think reimbursement rates, and not just reimbursement, but we're spending an incredible amount of money in healthcare to justify our existence. We spend an incredible amount of money documenting, filing reports, doing those kinds of things. what could we do to increase treatment and access to services and add different kinds of services that are needed if we just trusted, if there was a little bit of trust. And our tendency in this country is to legislate for the exception rather than the rule. We legislate for the one transgression instead of addressing the transgression individually and thinking about the system as a whole. So that is something that I think as we talk with legislators, we need to remind them about that. I think we need to look internally, and I would challenge this both at the government level, but you know, when I work in the private sector, one of the rules we had at a company I worked at is that if I was gonna make a change in a policy or a rule or something within my department, I needed to check with every other stakeholder to see if that was gonna conflict with their rule or how we were gonna unintentionally be at cross purposes. And we do that a lot in government. No offense, but we do. I mean, and it's not, I don't think it's intentional, but in the effort to meet rule-making deadlines or whatnot, we're not communicating, we're not figuring out how what we're doing is creating more work for somebody else. So I would challenge as we look at this process to look at our own internal processes and our own internal rules. When you say be bold, so I got the privilege to attend the National Conference for Behavioral Health. And I know many of you have heard Johan Hari speak. I think he might have spoke here a couple years ago. And boy, talk about bold. Talk about, in Switzerland, they legalized opioids. Because what they found is that the stigma, and it created a whole lot of social determinant issues. So what they did is they had legalized places where if you were an opioid addict, you could come and receive the most pure form of opioid and be healthy and still go to work, still be able to make enough money to have a place to live and to put food on your table and to not feel like you're an alien. So if we're gonna be bold, let's really be bold. Let's really think outside the box and figure out how we help people who have these diseases, but not make them feel like pariah as a result. I have many other things to say, but in the interest of time and bathroom breaks, I will finish. But last of all, I just want to say trust each other, work together, trust the providers, trust that we're all in this to do the right thing for people, and don't put so many things in place assuming that we're attempting to cheat, because we're not. We're attempting to help. So thank you.